What are the myths that surround the immigration debate?
There's always myths about immigration, so that migrants are taking jobs away from Australians. And let's look at one of the biggest, which is housing and the housing crisis that we have. And just to look at really the perhaps the critical period of 21, 23, when we did not have a lot of migrants arrivals in Australia because we had lockdown, almost complete lockdown. Even during those years, we still had problems with housing. We still had problems with rental. So clearly, there is no direct correlation between migrants and the housing crisis, which of course has other contributing factors. When you look at the overall migration program, the largest component is always the temporary migrants. Those kind of arrivals tend to live in small flats. They crowded, sharing, etc., to reduce cost. That is not what is really in demand in terms of the broader population. They want proper rental supplies. They want proper accommodation supplies. Australia is a migration nation. We would not have the Australia that we have today with its sociocultural fabric, with its economic prosperity, without migration. By and large, Australians have favorable opinions towards migration. It's more than three quarters in 2024 thought that migration is a good thing for Australia. It's only when migration becomes weaponized politically that we have a conversation that becomes driven by disinformation, by things that have nothing to do with migration, as we know it, in terms of either systems and technical infrastructure, or migration that impacts social, cultural, and economic domains. The main thing to remember that migration doesn't lead to more security threats, is not the main contributor to some of the key challenges that we have in our society, including housing, for instance, or employment or inflation. But it needs still to be able to be debated, and people need to be able to articulate their views on migration. So that's the kind of conversation we need to be having. What does our economy require that migration programs can actually contribute to? And in what ways can we turn migration into a net positive contributor to our economic, social, and cultural well-being?